Newport News in Review starts right now.
Hello, I'm Aaron Pritchett, and welcome to this edition of Newport News in Review for the month of January 2010. Or is it 2010? Well, no matter what we finally decide to end up calling it, we gladly welcome in a new year and the beginning of a brand new decade, full of many hopes, dreams, and yes, plenty of challenges. And as we venture out on this journey of new beginnings, we take you to a place that's actually in the business of taking what is old and making it somewhat new again. So much so that it's helping the city save money and, more importantly, ensuring a much earth-friendlier environment for generations to come. As we bring this show to you from the very remarkable Newport News Compost and Drop-Off Facility at 500 Atkinson Way in the Denby section of Newport News. It may not look like much to many people, but this very busy 10-acre site with its piles and piles of leaves and other debris has been a valuable resource to citizens and businesses alike for the last 19 years. Providing the perfect place to properly dispose of unwanted items and giving the public the opportunity to pick up everything from mulch to compost for their gardens and yards as a way to beautify and ultimately give back to the environment. But this site is also reminded of its much larger past, with its very evident towering mound that served as the city's second landfill location from 1984 to 1996. That, of course, was until it was capped when the city reached an agreement to have its trash deposited at the Bethel landfill in Hampton. So it was then that the compost facility was moved from one side of the landfill to the other to make way for the construction of the Stony Run Athletic Complex and giving this site a much bigger home and the opportunity to focus in on serving its customers and this city. From taking in over 13,000 tons of leaves from city streets in the fiscal year of 2009 that were then broken up and decomposed to produce compost, to the over 4,000 tons of brush that was ground up to produce mulch to sell to the public and also used on various city projects, to the almost 200 tons of scrap metal that was received and properly recycled. It is these impressive facts and figures and what goes on here each and every day throughout the year that has helped to bring in over $220,000 in revenue and, more importantly, save the city over $500,000 in keeping these materials out of the landfill. We are proud to feature the Newport News Compost and Drop-Off Facility and encourage you to do your part to help the environment by dropping off your old tires, metal, brush, and debris, or picking up the many wonderful mulch and compost products that this facility offers all year long. Well, January's been another busy month, so let's take a look at what's been going on right here in the city of Newport News. Carefully chipping away at history in an effort to uncover the real story behind 220 tons of artifacts of the USS Monitor, as we take you behind the scenes at the Mariners Museum in the largest state-of-the-art artifacts conservation facilities on the East Coast to get you up to speed on what's been going on to conserve the most famous Civil War ironclads in history. It's the tie that binds, or is it the yarn that binds? Well, this loosely knit group of ladies know best, as they've been busy using their hands to creatively create some of the warmest items around that are sent out to warm the hearts, the heads, and the hands of those in need. And it's more than meets the eye, as this new group of Police Academy graduates begin the process of a bright career with the Newport News Police Department. But getting to this point was no easy feat, as we give you a taste of what 22 weeks of intense recruit academy training is all about. It's a new year, the beginning of a brand new decade, and a chance to start moving in the right direction, putting one foot in front of the other and giving your best for no matter what comes your way. Well, that's exactly what the Newport News Police Department is looking forward to doing, as they recently gathered at the Ferguson Center for the Arts on the campus of Christopher Newport University for a graduation ceremony recognizing their first independent academy class consisting of 22 new officers. Indeed, a very proud moment. But don't be mistaken, their journey to this point was indeed no easy task.
Well, you know, most people don't realize it almost takes us a year and a half to hire and train and put on the street a new police officer. In 2004, when I came here, I set some priorities, and they were hire the best, train the best, and train them in the best possible way, have a good career development and professional development program, And this really capped it off. When I got here, we did not have our own police academy. For about 3 years, we had what was considered a satellite academy from the regional academy. But this was the first graduation of our own independent academy. And what that means is we are sanctioned by the state to have our own police academy to train our own people. There are not that many across the state. And this gives us a great opportunity to train around the specific needs of a police officer in Newport News.
So what's the first thing we're going to do? Mask. Don a mask. So both parties are going to don a mask. Chin into the cup. Reach in, find the pull tab, pull the webbing over. So I recommend starting with the middle ones first.
Today what we're doing is we're making sure that all the recruits are ready to hit the street with any of the weapons of mass destruction, personal protective equipment that they're going to need, and the helmets. It's important that they have all of this stuff fitted and ready to go for their first day on the street. Well, starting from the head down, they got their helmet, they have their gas mask, they have their entire suit and gloves and boots. And when all these things are put together, we tape them up so that we have one continuous seal around the entire body to keep any outside chemical agents or anything like that from getting to them. I think it's excellent that we have our own academy now. I, for one, several years ago went through the regional academy, and this we can tailor exactly to our needs as a department and as a city for what we want the recruits to know so that they're ready on day one when they go out here and start working the road.
We're at a tarmac right beside the Newport News Williamsburg International Airport. This trains the students that not only are we going to be riding our cars in nice weather, but we're going to put them in inclement weather, something to get used to when they're out on the road by themselves. This course, by no means are we certifying people to be race car drivers or stunt drivers. This just kind of breaks in the recruits as the basic vehicle operations, the lights, the siren, how we want them to drive these vehicles. Obviously, they are not your normal sedans that you see out there on the road. They are equipped with different equipment that they'll be using in their daily routine. We set up different courses, backing, parking, some basic fundamentals, and throughout the week we'll start to make them a little harder, a little bit more challenging, but at the end of it we'll incorporate everything that they'll have to deal with out on the street on a daily basis.
It is intimidating. What they're actually feeling is a little bit of anxiety. They're out here testing, so their position here in the department is on the line as to whether or not they pass, and generally most of them do fairly well in driving after they get the hang of the cars. But one of the things that they're learning how to do is to manage stress. To drive a car under such conditions with lights and sirens, in addition to responding to the call, whatever call it is that you're responding to, tends to release some adrenaline and get you really pumped up. So what they need to learn to do out here is to control that. Some of the things that come out of that tunnel vision prevent you from seeing certain things that tend to, from time to time, contribute to accidents. So as they learn how to manage their stress, they're better able to handle the vehicle.
This department has done a very good job of giving you a taste of what you're going to taste out there in the streets. Of course, you don't know how you're going to react until you're actually there, but they have done a great job of preparing us mentally, telling us to calm down, but also letting us know you're going to have to execute and how to do that.
Today, the basic law enforcement students are learning how to handle a shotgun. We'll go from double lock buck, which is actually little pellets. There's 9 pellets in each shot. And then we'll get to the slugs later on this afternoon, which is a 1 ounce piece of lead, which can go quite a farther distance and do more of an impact on an individual if it's needed. Fire! Some have never handled a shotgun before, correct. Some have. It's been quite a while. Others have not fired it at all, but did very well for the first rounds of shooting. And I told them they'd probably have a little bruise by the end of the afternoon, but they're going to get used to it. Fire!
I've never shot a shotgun before, but with the instructors, their patience, and actually it's pretty exciting, you know, to be able to learn all these different things. It makes you a more well-rounded person. You think about different things that you've never really thought about before from a different perspective as being the officer instead of the regular civilian.
There you go. Fire! It's a long 22 weeks. This is just the basic law enforcement. This starts the career. They have 3 months of field training, and then they're cleared to be on their own. And from there on, that's when they really start getting their hands dirty and start seeing what police work is all about. Fire!
Well, I'll tell you, if you want to be a police officer in a great city where you're going to get all types of experience and you're not just going to walk around, you're going to get involved with the public, the community, you're going to have fun and a great job, come see us in Newport News.
By now, it should be second nature. You shouldn't have to even think about doing it. But unfortunately, there's still some out there that fail to make the connection, the seatbelt connection. One simple click and you're on your way to saving your life and the lives of others. But if you still need convincing, just ask those that are still lucky enough to be alive and talk about it. As the Newport News Police Department and the Department of Motor Vehicles recently recognized one citizen and a few officers within the ranks of the police department who were involved in traffic accidents and survived because they were ultimately saved by the belt.
The Saved by the Belt Award was created back in the mid-90s, and that's what we're here today for. It was to identify law enforcement officers and other individuals whose lives were saved or the injuries were significantly reduced by properly restraining and using the safety belts that are designed in those vehicles that are manufactured.
I was driving down Jefferson, a car pulled out in front of me. I tried to avoid that car, but I ended up hitting it anyways, which that deployed the airbag. There was a second part of the collision where I hit a pole when I did not have the airbag, of course, did not deploy because it was already deployed.
Officer Robert Harris?
A lot of people depend on the airbag going off if they don't have their seatbelt on. They're supposed to act in conjunction with each other. But like I said, I did not have the benefit of an airbag on the second part of my collision, so I think it absolutely saved my life.
I'll be on stop too. There were 2 lanes that were turning left onto Mercury, so I couldn't really see all the oncoming traffic. I saw one pair of headlights go by, didn't see another pair, so I thought it was clear. Started to make the turn. As soon as I started to make the turn, I saw the car coming. And I had just enough time to hit the brakes and think to myself, here it goes.
Officer Soul?
Well, it's always been pretty important to me. My father got hit by a school bus when I was a young child. He actually popped the windshield out with his face and ended up in the passenger seat. And ever since then, he's always worn a seatbelt, and it's kind of something I've been trained to do, so.
And you know, you don't know what is going to happen every single day. I had just dropped off my son with my mother and was on my way to work. Just normal, every day, driving to work. And so she came over the median is really all I remember is that just last second of seeing her come and hit me. I knew it was really bad. The airbag went off, which had never happened to me before, and broke my femur twice and actually came out of the leg and then crushed an ankle.
Miss Henrietta?
Devastated, yes, but just a blessing to be alive. I mean, I just thank God every day. And people do not survive these types of accidents at the speed that she was going, and just knowing that that seatbelt saved my life.
It's a job like no other, one that has you up close and personal with 140 years of history, not to mention the delicate process of excavating, documenting, and conserving over 220 tons of artifacts from the most famous Civil War ironclad that changed history, the USS Monitor. Well, that's exactly what goes on each and every day as we take you behind the scenes of the USS Monitor Center in the largest state-of-the-art artifact conservation facilities on the East Coast.
Well, what we're responsible for here in this lab is conserving the 220 plus tons of artifacts recovered from the USS Monitor. And it's a pretty big task because it requires a lot of equipment and technology in order for us to do the job well. And so behind me you can see a large number of tanks. The largest tank is approximately 90,000 gallons, and that houses Monitor's revolving gun turret. One of the major activities that we're working on right now is documenting some features inside of the revolving gun turret. And that's a major task because it requires draining the tank down and having people physically go inside of the turret to work on it. And one of our major focuses for the past few months has been recording some archaeological features on the inside of the gun turret. Primarily what we call nut guards. They're these big iron features that are in the inside and help protect the crew from the possibility of loose material during battle.
And so we're actually applying a molding material to those features in order to get a good adherence to the surface. And then we remove that mold and actually cast that material so we have a 3D representation of those very, very delicate features on the inside of the turret. Well, most people aren't familiar with the condenser. It's part of the propulsion assembly involved with the steam technology. And it's really neat for us right now because it's one of the larger artifacts that we've worked on that's actually mechanical in nature. It's composed of wrought iron, cast iron, copper alloy, brass, bronze, rubber, you name it. It's a really complex piece of equipment. And what we're trying to do now is remove all of that thick layer of sediment and corrosion that's built up on the surface of the artifact. And that involves using hand tools and mechanical equipment. And it is an extremely, extremely dirty process. We have sand, sediment, sulfur, shell, all of these things that formed in this marine environment. When it comes off, it's an extremely dark, dirty color, and it really actually stains temporarily the surface of the artifacts. And so we're removing upwards of probably 500 to 750 pounds of this material a day from the surface of the artifact. And that's no small job. It's probably upwards of 4 to 6 people working on this thing during the day. I hear about once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, things of that nature. And this, to me, is something considerably different. This is the only ironclad that's ever been raised from the ocean and is now actively being conserved. And sure, there are other shipwrecks around that are fairly famous in England and other places, even Charleston, South Carolina. But to have this vessel, which fought in the waters right here off Hampton Roads in one of the most iconic battles in naval history, to have it back here again after sinking off Hatteras is unbelievably incredible opportunity to work on these artifacts. What we're doing in this lab is not just examining an old shipwreck, but we're really trying to tell the story of the Monitor, the crew that served aboard her, the enemy, the CSS Virginia that they battled against. Really, we're not just dealing with a single shipwreck. We're dealing with history, archaeology, conservation, steam technology, you name it. It's all kind of wrapped up in this process. So come by, see the artifacts. You won't just see the Monitor, you'll see many, many other artifacts. We have upwards of 35,000 different pieces at this museum. So there's always something changing and something new to see. And at the same time, this is the largest marine metals conservation project in the world. So, I mean, right here in your backyard, an amazing facility, great smart people. Feel free to ask questions at any point, and docents and staff will be more than happy to accommodate you.
It's simply amazing what goes on here each and every day, because it's a place that's actually in the business of taking what is old and making it somewhat new again, at least in the natural sense. From piles and piles of leaves, debris, and even Christmas trees. The Newport News Compost and Drop-Off Facility, located at 500 Atkinson Way in the Denby section of Newport News, has been providing citizens and businesses alike for the last 19 years the perfect place to help save the city money and, more importantly, do their part to help protect the environment.
This is the Newport News compost site. This is where people bring in their brush, leaves, as well as the city trucks bringing in brush and leaves from the city. Brush comes in, we turn it into mulch products. The leaves come in, we decompose it and turn it into compost. It looks like dirt, and a lot of people are impressed that we recycle and reuse the products.
Oh yes, you can crawl faster than it runs. This is the Scarab, and it turns the windrows, and it's designed to pull everything from the outside and towards the center and fluff it up. It aerates it, which helps in the decomposing, and it also chews it up a little bit as it goes through the windrow.
A lot of people love our compost. It's kind of hard to get it anywhere else, and people that come get our compost, they're like, this is the best around. So it makes you feel kind of proud that they notice that. You know, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of this mulch comes from them when they put their leaves out. This is what we turn it into. So I feel real proud about that, you know, we're helping the environment and also able to help the city out with making compost.
This is not only a compost facility, but it's called the Compost and Drop-Off Facility, where residents can bring their residential trash into the facility here also. and dispose of their trash into the dumpsters. We also have white goods recycling, where they can bring the white goods in and metals in. For the refrigerants, we'll extract that. Our people are certified to extract the refrigerants, and then we'll take the white goods and metal to a salvage yard and turn it in for revenue. A lot of people don't know about us. Many do. We're hidden. We try to be hidden so that we can be good neighbors, lessen the noise to our neighbors, and also people don't see us. We try to be aesthetic, although the place is beautiful to look at with the trees around us and the organic products that come into us. So we're proud of the facility that we have here also. Well, I think little people are thinking green. A lot of businesses are thinking green also. The children in the schools, they have presentations presented to them. They know more about going green. And a lot of students are helping out with recycling and promoting green, and also educating their parents, or kind of influencing their parents to be more green and recycling things more, which is great. We have wonderful citizens in our youth. We appreciate them for what they do, bringing the products to us. So the citizens of Newport News are great. We have the facility they operate, and because of them, we're able to operate this facility and also save the city money by diverting the debris that would have gone into landfill. We're able to reuse it and thereby save money and also gain revenues.
So what does your life's work say about you? Have you worked hard? Have you looked for innovative ways to stay on top of your profession? Has your work had an impact on anyone or anything? Well, for the last 50 years, one man in particular can actually answer yes to these questions, especially if you just look at what he's been able to accomplish and create over his very fascinating career. So much so that the Peninsula Fine Arts Center recently unveiled a brand new exhibit that brings you into the world of local artist and award-winning architect Carlton Abbott.
One of the goals of the Peninsula Fine Arts Center is to build a stronger community through art. And there are a lot of ways that we can do that. The strongest way that we do it here at the Arts Center is to present exhibitions to the public. And in that selection of exhibitions, we show a variety of ways that artists contribute to their community, a variety of ways that the community can be involved in the artist's work. This particular exhibition, Carlton Abbott, 50 Years of Art and Architecture, is really a unique insight into that relationship. So that as you see behind me, you can tell that Carlton Abbott is indeed an architect of some note and some familiarity, because he's done a number of things that the public sees, walks, deals with on a regular basis. He's done work at Jamestown. He's done the whole waterfront development in Yorktown. He's also done private homes and private spaces. And it's rare that an architect is going to have such a dramatic impact on the community by the public things that he does, and at the same time does exquisite private spaces for individuals that in fact are extensions of the sculpture that he does. And so we have here a man of extreme skill who has demonstrated in a public kind of way what an architect can accomplish. Some of who Carlton is came from his father, Stanley Abbott, who was the first designer of the Blue Ridge Parkway. And through Carlton's mature association with his father in that work, he got an increased sensitivity for building and designing structures that in fact became part of the parkway, and that his father did as well, and the landscape design there. And that was a really good inspiration for Carlton that is held to this day. But Carlton Abbott is really more than just an architect. And you'll see that the moment you walk in, because in fact you don't see architecture first. What you see are paintings and constructions and sculptures and collages that this artist has created over that 50 years. We have one of his earliest drawings and prints. We have his design for the original occasion for the arts poster. We have a number of figurative things that he's done. We have a set of postcards, artist postcards that he did from his trips to France that are on view for everyone. We do have a number of Blue Ridge Parkway drawings. As I say, I don't know when he gets the time to be an architect. He's the president of Carlton Abbott and Partners. He has a number of folks working for him in the Williamsburg office. And he can be an architect, and he can sell, and he can present and do marvelous things. And yet he's also just down-to-earth artist who is so enthusiastic about the smallest of things aesthetically. And it's a wonderful combination, and that is what we're really celebrating here at the Peninsula Fine Arts Center. We're celebrating the skills of an architect and his history and his commitment and contribution to our community. And we're celebrating an artist who's makes some pretty good sculptures, does some pretty good work. And we have over 150 pieces here for you to see. This exhibition, Carlton Abbott, 50 Years of Art and Architecture, is on view here at the Peninsula Fine Arts Center in Mariners Park until March 21st. So we hope you'll come. You gotta leave yourself some time. There's a lot to see. And a lot to see if you need to kind of give these works a few minutes of your time, because there's some wonderful variations. The variation of geometries that he has explored is really fascinating, and there's some lessons to be learned. And of course, to see an architect who has built an environment that we experience on a daily basis, it's important to raise him up and recognize the contributions that he's made.
Winter blues got you down, nothing to do, no place to go, and no one to talk to? Well, that's all about to change, especially if you're looking for a loosely knit group of special people that meet each and every Thursday at the Grissom Library in the Denby section of Newport News. As they come together for a chance to meet and greet, and more importantly, to express themselves with a whole lot of love, as they let their hands creatively create some of the warmest gifts around.
It started out as a learning to knit and crochet group, but it's become a lot more than that. Right now we have people that have been knitting and crocheting for years and just come here for companionship. And then we have the people that came just this week that have never held a needle before, and so some of the older members will teach the newer members how to knit and crochet. I don't think it's a lost art at all. I think it's really coming back into vogue. It's a therapy, it's companionship, it's relaxing. I think in this time of day and age it's stressful being out, and so it's a good way to relax. One thing with coming to the library, it used to be that women would hang out the laundry in the backyard and then they would talk to the neighbors over the fence and with a cup of coffee, and they don't have that anymore. So by coming to the library, we have that community that we can talk and share. We talk about recipes, we find good restaurants, we know good movies, we share everything. We share our lives with each other. It's just a good community.
Everybody in this society needs people to laugh with and to cry with. The conversation gets serious. It never leaves this room, and that's been tested over years. And that is so important instead of just being a number in society and a member of a bureaucracy. And it's really the friendship that holds everything together.
Different ages, different ethnic, different groups of people. I love it. Next thing I know, I got something done.
We had one of the ladies came in last year in January and said that her mother was working with the Elks Club and they were looking for lap robes for the VA hospital, and she was hoping to get maybe 10 or 15 from this group. We made 127 that we gave to the VA hospital in Hampton, along with scarves and hats that we give to Link for the homeless in the community. Baby items, we will give those to the different hospitals for the newborn babies that may not have something to wear home. So everything is given out.
It's just a really great group of women. It's really funny because you can come in with a need and mention it to these ladies, and the next week you've got a table load. You know, it's just amazing. They're just really a lot of really nice ladies. I've really enjoyed being friends with them. And if we have to miss Thursdays, it's very stressful on us.
It's made with a lot of care and love. If they didn't love you or care about you, they wouldn't make it for you. It could be called the closely knit group, but we don't want to do that because we don't want to close the doors to anybody. We want anybody to feel welcome to come here, stay as long as they want to stay, come as often as they want to come. Some people can only come once or twice a month. All they need to do is come to Grissom Library around 9:30 on a Thursday morning, and we'll be here.
Well, that's about all the time we have for you this month. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Newport News in Review from the very impressive Newport News Compost and Drop-Off Facility. And as always, on behalf of everyone here at Newport News TV, whether you're watching us on TV or online at nngov.com, Facebook, or YouTube, thanks for watching. And we'll see you here real soon for the February 2010 edition of Newport News in Review right here on Newport News Television.
For more information on Newport News and Review, contact Aaron Pritchett at apritchett@nngov.com. Watch Newport News TV anytime at nngov.com.